Nice to have you back here at NMIMS, and it's really nice that you've come and talked to our students here of Technology Ventures. And for the audience over here, Harish Prabhu is my classmate at NMIMS, and he was with JP Morgan Chase as the Vice President. He was the President of Tape Capital in India, and he's also the ex-CEO of Mashreq Bank. Currently, he runs a private equity firm, and I just have a few questions to ask you, Harish. How important is it really for an idea for technology ventures? How important is the idea?
Obviously, the idea is the core, and it has to be really well thought out. Because, there are millions of ideas emanating from the human mind every day, and there are millions of human beings, so you can imagine the permutations and combinations. So, the idea is most important because because idea has to be finally brought into a stage from the mind to actually creating revenues out of it. So the idea has to be really well thought out. It can't be just an idea. It has to be an idea which has to be actually translated into reality.
Okay. Then with your experience in funding several firms, what does a private equity player look for from a technology startup?
Firstly, private equity players usually don't look at, these, as I explained earlier, the venture capitalists or the angel investors, they look at. First is the idea, the second is, the quality of the management team. And obviously, what do you mean by quality of the management team when you're talking of youngsters, without much of knowledge of the workplace. So the first test is that how well they can articulate their idea into how they can make their idea work in the real world. So I think these are the first two, the idea, the articulation, and the applicability of that idea into the real world. So those are the simplest, obviously logical things which they look at.
Okay. I've had an opportunity to meet and actually study under Professor Noam Wasserman of the Harvard Business School. And in fact, we follow many of his cases here in our class here at NMIMS. He's written a very interesting book called The Founder's Dilemma. What happens is that the founder starts a company, and after some time, when you achieve success, you have to give up and give up control. So it's a kind of a dilemma. Have you observed such kind of a issue?
Yeah, if you see the biggest success stories like the Yahoos of the world and the Googles, they have given up, right? Primarily because the generators of the idea and the creators of those ideas might be able to take that idea to fruition and up to a certain level. Now, when you're talking of creation and fruition, it's fine. But when you're talking of populating the whole globe or populating the whole country, where your product can be used, you require other skill sets which you may never have experienced, and so hence, you have to bring in professionals. You have to dilute some equity or whatever. So all these things is a natural progression, or otherwise your idea will remain stunted. So you can technically be a very large owner of a small proposition, right? Or a small owner of a very large proposition. So, in my opinion, anybody should not have any idea, dilemma. Your goal should be that, if I'm successful, my ideas has to be as successful as it can become.
Okay, I see. And finally, what's your advice to my students here of Technology Ventures at NMIMS?
No real advice, because these are smart young people. It's just that the rules of success, I think, don't change over generations. I think despite technology emanating in our lives in a big way, I think the rules of success have been, since time immemorial, remain the same. Hard work, but obviously, brilliant thinking is required, followed up by hard work and diligence. And I think a passion, overriding passion to succeed, period. Nothing else.
Okay. Thank you very much, Harish. It was very nice of you to come over and meet our students. We look forward to your coming back to your alma mater once again.
Thank you once again.